Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and analyzing two new mid-season 8 trailers for The Walking Dead. Now if you'd like a full breakdown of both trailers, I actually have a video dedicated for each one on the channel, but in this video we'll be going in depth as we take a look at some key moments of the trailers involving Negan, Simon, Jadis, Rick, and Michonne. With that being said, major warning of spoilers for everything in the show up to Season 8, Episode 8, and let's jump right into this. So, first off, let's go ahead and discuss the first hint of the possible downfall of Jadis' group of scavengers at the Junkyard. Over the last week or so, we were released two new promo images titled The Last Stand. While one just shows Rick and Negan, the other one shows what looks like Rick, Michonne, and Daryl standing on top of a burning junkyard. Due to this promo image, fans were speculating left and right that the Junkyard group would be wiped out, but there's more. There was a 30-second promo trailer released on February 1st, along with a main mid-season 8 trailer that was a minute and a half long, released the day after, February 2nd. During the original promo trailer, we saw what looked like Rick and Michonne going to confront Jadis at the Junkyard, as we could see Rick and Michonne walking through what looks like the same shipping crate that Jadis uses as the entrance to her Junkyard community. If you look at previous shots of the Junkyard, either from a top-down view or just during a scene with everyone clustering into that center meeting area, a huge shipping crate seems to be how they split up the areas at the Junkyard, or at least how they make the entrance. Oh, and also, when that main minute-and-a-half trailer came out a day later, it also showed more angles of Rick and Michonne opening the actual shipping crate. Okay, so Rick and Michonne are going to talk to the Junkyard people, but why would they do that, and when exactly? Well, in the main trailer, we can see Daryl, Rosita, and other Alexandrians arrive at the hilltop, but no Michonne or Rick, at least from what we saw. I assume that after Carl dies, instead of going to the hilltop with everyone else, they're going to go back to the Junkyard. After all, Rick went on his own and risked so much to convince Jadis to pick his side once more, so he doesn't want all of that effort to be for nothing. Considering all communities have taken a hit, they also need to regroup and rebuild their numbers, and adding the Junkyard group to their rebellion would be a huge help in that aspect. And although Jadis and her people ran away and retreated when Rick needed them most in the beginning of episode 808, they were still willing to help, they were just caught off guard. And as a side note, marching down the center of the road to the sanctuary probably wasn't the best idea. They probably should have snuck around to the side of the building or something, but putting that minor complaint aside, in the main trailer, we can hear Rick stating that they have people and guns, as Michonne was most likely doubting them. Anyways, next I wanted to discuss a clip from the main trailer that actually shows what looks like Rick and Michonne climbing old furniture and other garbage in order to escape a horde of zombies. This really looks like the Junkyard, and if so, why is there a bunch of zombies there? Now, my original thought was that maybe the saviors directed a zombie horde at them, but upon further inspection, it looks like the zombies are the garbage people themselves. What the heck? So although it was Rick and Michonne's intentions to speak with Jadis and join forces again, it seems like they were too late and are instead met with a huge surprise. Now when you zoom in and look at the zombies behind Rick and Michonne, I can't quite tell what their cause of death is. I suppose that blood turns dark and that they're wearing black clothing, so the blood just may be hard to see, but as far as I can tell, I don't really see any blood on them, any wounds, except for maybe a cut on the cheek of one of them, but that's it. I was looking for gunshot wounds, stab wounds, maybe broken bones, broken necks. I don't really see anything glaringly obvious. Let me know if you guys see anything. It looks like all the Junkyard people are turned into zombies, so they weren't shot in the head, but what happened here? Were they all hung to death or poisoned or something? How did they all die? Now back before this clip of Michonne and Rick running away from the zombified Junkyard group was even released, in the first promo trailer we can actually see a small clip of Simon talking to Jadis at the Junkyard. Because of this, we already suspected Simon of possibly threatening Jadis' group, eventually leading to them being murdered and wiped out if it came down to it. Now if that wasn't enough, the main trailer released the next day further solidified this theory. We get a similar clip of Simon talking to Jadis from what looks like the same conversation, except Simon whips out a pistol and he starts pointing it at Jadis' people. Now, my original prediction was that Simon was going to murder everyone at the Junkyard, possibly leaving one or two people alive, and that seems to be confirmed as well. We saw the zombie herd of Junkyard people chasing Rick and Michonne, so we know that they're mostly all killed off, but in the main trailer we also see Jadis sitting on top of a junk pile. possibly up, I'm not sure, but she looks extremely depressed. Now, normally we see her in dark, obscure clothing, which supports her strange lifestyle and personality. In this clip, however, we see her in all white, which just makes her look completely vulnerable, and it really caught me off guard. Why did Simon keep Jadis alive? Was it some sort of sick punishment because she wouldn't comply with Negan, and he wanted to keep her alive because she's the leader and she pretty much got all of her people killed? Or did Simon keep her alive to deliver a threat to Rick? Whatever the reason, I assume that we'll see Rick and Michonne meet up with her and get the explanation as to what happened. I suppose that it makes sense that they keep Jadis alive considering she was the leader with the most character development, but I was hoping that her lieutenants would survive as well, Brienne and especially Tamiel, since there's a huge theory floating around that Tamiel is actually the sister of Diane, the Kingdom Soldier Archer. For some reason, I feel like having this potential sister reunion would be a really cool twist to throw in the show randomly, and it would add more development for two completely different characters from two different communities. Now, with everything being said about the destruction of the Junkyard group, how exactly will it play out on the show? Well, first off, I imagine a situation where we see Simon drop by the Junkyard and we're actually left to assume that Jadis and Simon will form an alliance. I predict that it may in fact be a misdirection and that Simon might actually be there to kill Jadis and her people. There were saviors left at the sanctuary who shot at Rick and Jadis when they arrived at the beginning of episode 808, so those saviors could have reported to Negan and Simon that Jadis' group was seen marching towards the sanctuary with Rick Grimes. I believe that we might be left to believe that Simon and Jadis will once again team up, but then once Rick and Michonne finally get there, they come across Jadis' group completely murdered and zombified, and it will be a huge shocking moment. As I said previously, when Rick and Michonne get there, they may find one or two Junkyard people barely left alive to tell the story, like Jadis, Brienne, or Tamiel, just as further confirmation that it was in fact the saviors who wiped them out. This would make sense why it would look like Rick and Michonne are sneaking right in through the front door of the Junkyard shipping crate without being detected, because everyone there is already dead. It would be a shocking way to kill off the Junkyard group, along with solidifying that Simon is the lieutenant, pushing the idea that they should completely wipe out any group that defies them, just like the library group at the end of season 6. This plays into what Negan said to Simon during the first half of season 8 about backsliding, since Simon suggested total annihilation if the hilltop didn't comply. This angered Negan as he yelled that people are a resource, which implies that he doesn't agree with Simon's suggestion to wipe everyone out. I discussed this more in my video that I have dedicated to Simon's history with Negan, but my point here is that if Simon wipes out the Junkyard people, could this be him possibly defying Negan's orders and taking matters into his own hands? Now, even if Simon isn't there to kill them right off the bat, I could see him giving them a chance to comply, but if they don't, he'll probably just get fed up and start killing them. This would be going against Negan's wishes to keep people alive as they are a resource, so would this get Simon in trouble, or did Negan actually agree with him that this is a good backup plan? At the end of the Season 8B trailer, Negan is talking to Simon and he says, "I stop people from dying, I am the answer." So what is the context of this conversation? Is he talking to Simon about whether or not they should kill off everyone? Although they could be discussing the hilltop, I believe that this could be Negan telling Simon to go handle Jadis and her group at the Junkyard. Out of the hilltop, Alexandria, the Kingdom, or the Junkyard is definitely the wild card out of the bunch, making it quite possibly the easiest for the saviors to deal with, so that's probably why Simon is sent there first. Either way, regardless if this creates tension between Negan and Simon, it will still solidify and further show an example of Simon being an evil bastard who needs to be taken down. I honestly hope that some savior lieutenants survive, such as Dwight or Gavin, but we do need some major savior deaths in order for All Out War to feel like a victory, and they may be setting Simon up for just that. Also, as a side prediction, could the Junkyard be where Rick gets the walkie-talkie to talk to Negan like from what we see in the promos, or do they acquire them some other way? And finally, I hate to end this off on a mini rant, but I'm going to, sorry in advance. So, why would they spoil something this drastic? I'm unsure. I understand that leaving these little hints and clues with Simon meeting with Jadis along with Rick and Michonne entering the shipping crates, but was it really necessary to show Jadis crying all sad and alone in white clothing for some reason? If that zombie horde Rick and Michonne are running away from truly is the dead scavenger group due to Simon murdering them all, was it really necessary to show all the Junkyard scavengers already dead and zombified. I get that it was only for a few seconds and most people won't realize, but they knew that we would slow down the trailers and debunk this stuff. It's probably difficult to tease something effectively without possibly spoiling it a little bit too much, but I think that they still could have left those few moments out or at least switched it up somehow. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comments section below, along with any other theories or predictions you may have. Is it Simon that slaughters the Junkyard group? Will Jadis actually join Rick and the gang at the hilltop? It would be extremely odd to imagine Jadis mingling with normal people at the hilltop, but maybe it could serve as some comedic moments in the near future. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or even subscribe for more Walking Dead Season 8 content in the near future. If you'd like to take that extra step in helping support my videos, consider checking out my Patreon where there's a bunch of different rewards involving the channel, such as a chance to directly influence the videos being produced. It isn't necessary by any means, but it could really help in the long run. And as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.